Oh,
No whoosh.
no whoosh.
Oh, where's the graphic gone?
This is like, we've broken our streak of 5 p.m. streams without a whoosh. I'm disappointed in this. Alrighty. Stream number 2 of today. What? No,
Yeah,
it's
come on.
not.
Whoosher.
Just
do it.
like
Are
round
you
one
really
during
about
the
to
stream.
whoosh? Are we just
right
gonna?
there, yeah.
Sure. Crack on. Do you know what? Let's just do it.
Right, reset, reset.
You haven't seen anything, guys.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Rebuild.
So, all right, back on the couch. Joining me to my left, Mod Timbo, Mod Osborne. To my right, Mod Jack, and Mod Days. So, we have another presentation to go through. This time with a lot less art style to the layout of the presentation as such. We haven't got the
lot less.
we haven't got the art style in that regard.
Developer art versus artist.
I mean, they were doing the stream. I couldn't get them to put pictures in.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
like, how do you
Well
get them to
saved.
do it?
Well saved.
That's the reason.
Right, so second part of the stream, we're going to be taking a look at this year's RuneScape content survey. So, and what you guys have basically told us through that. So, throughout the stream, we're going to throw over to Mod Osborne as well as Mod Jack, Mod Days, and Mod Timbo. We'll be jumping in on sections of this survey so we can share with you the results. And we'll let the discussions go on. We'll take questions where we can. I'll try and chime in where I can as well, and we'll just go for it. So, I'm going to throw it over to you. And
Yeah.
go for it.
So we're going to start just going through. We want to be transparent and show everything. So, boom. Let's move straight onto it. We're going to do... Oh,
Boom.
Oh, are you ready?
he's not even ready. He's not even ready.
We're going.
We're going to
Presentation.
go straight in. Okay. Look at...
What is the layout?
Not
Oh,
even
man.
centered. That's my favourite thing.
Oh, man. Right.
I like it. I think it's edgy.
So, just before we jump in, when did we open the survey? How long's it been open?
We opened the survey start of the month, and we said that we're going to close at end of the month, and we're getting towards the end of the month. And we always said that we wanted to show off the results. We weren't going to hide them this year.
Yep.
So that has to come with a certain caveat. Same as every year. We gather the results, but these aren't the only factors that determine our decisions. So just because an update comes top doesn't mean necessarily it's going to be the one we make next. So do keep that in mind. But still, we want to show everything.
So in the past, obviously, we've kept until RuneFest 10, kind of discussed.
And then
it.
shown only really
Yeah.
specific answers that we're happy to show.
So
This time it's just like...
why the different changes here?
I think that we're happier to do it. I think we've got the community into a place where they don't believe that everything we say is a promise. So please...
This is part of that, right? But
Yeah.
like in the style that we've done it at RuneFest of going, look at this poll, here's the top 2 results. It does kind of go, we're definitely doing that now.
Yeah.
And we're trying not to be
Yeah,
so...
if you're focusing on certain things, then we're probably going to do them. This time we're showing everything, like in a scattershot effect.
Right.
Right, let's go for it, rather than... Let's talk. Okay. Should we do it? Top skilling updates. So these were the updates that you wanted most from the skilling section.
I suggest we put this to full screen, if possible, because we're
cannot-
gonna need to be able to see it. Can we move the PowerPoint to full screen?
Okay, yeah. Click, 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 click. There we go, Deckard. So top of the top 10 updates.
Master
Skill Cape Perks.
Yep.
So that was top by a significant margin. Go on, take us through. You're the skilling man. Do you want to go through it?
Skilling man.
Go on, like with a scalpel, pick it apart.
What? Choice updates, or did you go for?
Yeah, the things. I mean, there were lots of things that surprised us, I think.
I think the agility one surprised us quite a lot as well.
So that's the agility hobble, yeah.
It's not a rework, but an overhaul of how you train agility and how it's used.
Yeah, this is kind of the clue scroll overhaul approach to a rework,
Yeah, that surprised me a lot.
which is
Up
more
there.
additive rather than changing things. So it was adding a new reward, new way of training.
What else is there surprising me? More dungeoneering resource dungeons. It's more surprising. It's more of a reward rather than a training update and that sort of thing. But and then your pickpocketing summoners
Oh yeah, made it into the top
made it
half.
into the top 10.
Yes, get
I
in.
think it was quite surprising.
Get in. which, if it's top half, it gets made. If it's one of my ideas, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what power feels like.
But yeah, I think a lot of these weren't. So yeah, it was a big mixed bag. Some of it we were quite surprised at.
Yeah.
Some of it not so surprised at. So like farming, high animal husbandry.
Yes.
Wasn't much of a surprise. Plays a Slayer Master, that sort of thing.
I think Master Skill Code perks, because it was so exclusive, as in you'd have to be Master level. You know, you'd have to have high levels to it. We thought that would be lower.
If we look back at the last time we ran a survey as well. Sorry, last time we ran a game poll back in December, we said, you know, what have we enjoyed the most in 2017?
Yeah.
Skill K perks was up there. So again, a little bit more surprised. Obviously, Master Skill K perks is a little bit more exclusive in that regard. But I can see why it might be up there just because, in a way, it's just a buff, right, to your skill that you enjoy doing.
It's a free reward for something you've already done, which is a kind of common theme. You see this in a few of the other polls. It's give me a reward for something I've already done, which is fair.
There's a thing worth commenting on this graph, I guess, that they are still fairly close together.
Yeah.
Like the difference between the top and the bottom there isn't enormous.
Yeah.
And that kind of reflects why this can be quite difficult to do, because if one of them is massively more popular than the others, well, that's an obvious choice to make.
Yeah.
In this case, we can go democratically, oh, it's slightly more popular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean
all
it's
really
just
popular.
These are all still well popular. These are still like weighted averages of like 3.7.
By the way, that last line, I know I've got no x-axis on here, which is heinous, but that last line is 5, so very, very important. I think it was all very exciting.
And
So you can
Connor
see-
would have a go at you for that.
Yeah, always label your axes. So you can see 5 is that end line. That's 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0.
And these numbers are the weighted averages.
Yes.
I've got 3 questions that come to my mind regarding Master Skill Kit perks.
Okay.
Just 3.
Not
Might be more.
27.
That's 27, yeah. Very good. So, perception had a quick scan of the chat. Obviously, it's not the opinion of everyone, but from some people have said, does it give the impression that every skill then becomes a 120 if you give them a perk at 120? Because technically, of course, when you have 3, right? DG, Slayer, and Invention.
Yeah.
So are we in essence saying now these skills should be 120 because we're given a benefit for them?
I mean, I think we already did that when we released Master Skill Capes.
Okay, fair.
We're acknowledging that they're 120. Like
Yeah.
we're acknowledging that you have enough XP to have 120 in the skill.
Yeah.
But we're absolutely not saying this skill goes to 120 because there isn't content to 120.
Yeah.
But we are giving mechanical benefits, so I guess this is the first time that we've done that beyond cosmetic.
Yeah, there's an incentive.
So I
to
can
do
see the argument.
Yeah, I can see the argument, but I would argue back that adding the skill capes in themselves already gave you a very good reason to get to 120.
Okay.
it. Yeah. I mean, skill capes have been a thing in game far longer than skill cape boats have been a thing
Yeah.
in game, and they had that effect almost immediately.
Yeah.
Do we feel like it's slightly different because this is a bonus
No,
it's a cosmetic?
No, yeah, I'm not completely dismissing that fact.
Of course, yeah.
I do agree that adding mechanical benefit to 120 does make it more of an actual requirement. So, like, if we add a really good skill cape pack to 120 crafting, you would feel like you have to get 120 crafting in order to get that perk to do something useful.
Are we of the impression that we want people to get 120? Like, in that sense, as bizarre as it sounds, like, do we want people to spend the time to get 120 in a skill that isn't a 120 skill, in that sense?
I mean, you should probably be rewarded for it.
That's fair, yeah.
I think the cosmetic bonus, as it stands, is quite strong, but I don't think we want everyone to get 120 all just for the sake of it. It's an optional thing. Maybe the skill cape perks isn't the right thing to do because it adds these mechanical benefits and sort of makes you feel like, oh well, I have to get to 120 now in this skill to.
Yeah.
get
We need
the
to
most
take
out
this
of it.
away and start talking about it now.
But this,
Yeah,
this, is
this-
why we
this-
have, but
this
this
is-
is why we have this as well.
Yeah, this is the exact reason why we
Yeah.
This is not the next 10 updates we're releasing
Yeah.
in RuneScape.
I'm now really aware of how many slides I have and how far we've got. I'm now going to move to the next one.
Sure.
Just butt in.
That's
So
fine.
these are the bottom 10. These are ones that people hated. And it really saddens me to see dungeoneering races at the bottom.
Yeah, but so
Well, no, that's the least. Oh, right, yeah. Sorry.
so I think, personally, I think that is because people can see that taking a huge amount of time away from other updates. I think Dungeoneering Races, if I looked at that, I think that's a huge update to do.
Okay, yeah.
That's my perspective, but maybe the chat will chime in as to why they might have said that. But that's my
I think,
my
I mean, if you look at the bottom two, they're both feel like more forced multiplayer content.
player agility course, right?
So I
one.
know.
Oh, my days.
So I wonder if it's forced multiplayer worries.
What else have we got on there that would surprise us?
120 max cape, I can see.
120 max. I'm surprised at that. It's because in skill cape perks, pulse
Yeah.
highly.
NFOS reputation improvements was doing quite well early in the survey. I
Yeah,
think, and it's
the in-game
dropped.
survey is actually very different from this. There's some difference.
Oh, was
So
that?
we'll
Yes,
have,
that was it.
we'll have to check. We're going to check between them. But this is because you've got access to the in-game poll, so we haven't shown that. This is very much the website one.
Ports expansion poured a lot lower than I was expecting.
Yeah.
People seem to like ports expansion.
So we're just going to scrap all of these. These are never going to get made.
And by the way, if you're wondering why we're all sitting so far forward, we're just trying to make sure we can see what what the colours are. Just so you know.
We're all squinting.
Need our monocles. All right, let's hop into complicate questions. That was first.
I'll just keep
Go for
questions. I mean, just before we jump on, I think to your point regarding Menethos, I think some people who voted on that have probably already done it, hence why they might not want to see it. into kind of devalues what they've
We
done.
were talking about adding more rewards as well, though. Weren't we?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
But
that was in there.
if you see reputation, you think I've worked I
Is it
worked
just
so
one
long
of
to get
the
that
trigger
rep.
words?
No, it's not. No, it's just like if you look at the amount of time that someone might put in to get the reputation. To my mind, it's like I've already done this reputation, and now you're about to make it whatever faster. Et
Oh, it's a
cetera.
fear that it would be
Yeah.
more on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was expanded on in the blog, but I think there's a bit of fear there. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Compcape.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Well, Timbo, go for it.
So yeah, Compcape was my section. I've now been lumbered with the Compcape, it seems. So this is some people answered the survey who had Compcape. In this survey, we did have branching questions. So if you did own a Compcape, you got different questions to those who didn't own a Compcape. This is only on the website as well, and wasn't in game.
Yeah, this is the website one.
So this is quite interesting. But we're just going to go through the yes answers, aren't we?
We're only going to go through yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I'm surprised at this. I'm surprised that Prestige wasn't as high as it is. But this is the sort of the reasons why people got Concave. Sense of achievement is obviously the overriding number one. So obviously people just want the fact to be known. They always want to be known as a completionist. They like
To have finished the game in some
yeah,
sense.
like to accomplish something. Stats is a lot lower than I thought as well. That's quite a low percentage of people who went for it just purely for the stats.
Because obviously that's factored into some of our conversations about if we changed anything about Compcape, stats would have to factor in.
Yeah.
So that's really useful to us. Like, do we move the stats elsewhere or?
So yeah, so I think one of the things we've been talking about a lot is the stats and like do people use the stat for the reason like is that the sole reasoning of the Compcape? But
Yeah.
it doesn't seem that that's the case. The stats is just a nice sort of side PVM benefit in order to like.
Is it still best in slot?
Yes, absolutely best in slot.
And it can hold three Compcape packs.
Yes, and then
teleports,
obviously
blah 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 blah.
absorb everything.
And the teleports is a lot higher. And then I don't remember what the blue one is.
Appearance.
Appearance. Oh, right, okay, yeah. Appearance is a little lower again as well. I think, yeah, I'm surprised the achievement was that high.
I can tell you, I could see why appearance is higher than prestige. Like, because if you look, like, if you play, you see, very common, at least once a day, you'll see someone get comp. And I think at the time that this was done, a lot of people might have gotten the Complicate back then for sense of accomplishment, but now it's just like,
It's not worth as much.
Yeah,
you
because not I'm not saying it doesn't worth as much, but at least once a day you will see a Compcape, someone get it,
Okay.
and then it kind of obviously adds up as the time goes on.
So then you asked about kind of most frustrating achievements.
Yeah,
Luna
so
farm.
obviously, part of what we want to do with the Compcape is sort of like look at what a Compcape requirement actually is, and if we need to look at changing any of them. So yeah, like the top 10 most frustrating ones. Number one by a Luna mile is Luna Farm. So this isn't people who are fresh. This isn't post the change we made. This is just like the most frustrating one in general. And then number 2 is good old Reaper. Obviously, it's a big frustrating thing for people. And then the rest of them aren't really.
Yeah, you got a couple of steps really, haven't you?
Trios.
You've got Luna and Reaper.
Trios is a very time-intensive achievement.
Yeah,
Like,
I expect that to be for a lot of people who are getting to comp late. Didn't do ports at the time of release. Having to come back to it and are now forced to wait literal hours between attempts and can fail and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's for the sort of more modern comp players, I assume. Getting that frustration. Doing it at the time wasn't that big of a deal. Wasn't a comp cape at the time, requirement at the time.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And then other, yeah.
Oh, he's got his phone.
Oh, very good.
So I got the fingerprint. Oh, it worked. So I got the word cloud for the other, where people got to put in their own sort of reasons why they got the most frustrating thing about Compcape. Is that the right one?
That can't be right. Yeah, wouldn't that have been nice? Maybe if I hadn't done this last minute, this would have worked.
Oh, yeah, I did it.
We'll put it on social.
So some of the other most frustrating things for people were the Mage Train Arena. Mage Train Arena was like one of the most commented.
Oh, Pizzazz. Pizzazz, is that what it's called?
Getting both features, which surprised me a lot, actually. I was surprised that was such a frustrating. I mean, I've been there and I've done it.
Yeah.
Ball ache, is that how to say that?
No, that's fine. I'll allow it. I'll allow that. That's fine.
Yeah, that's sort of like PG-13.
Shawnee our swell filter, I love it.
So I'm surprised that was as frustrating. There's a bunch of castle walls, which isn't actually a normal complicated requirement.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
But I imagine that's just a lot of people. And then RNG and group bossing being a lot of the other big ones on there as well.
So I guess picking apart Reaper, and it's just there's specific things in Reaper they didn't like. Is that
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, raids was a big thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, but I think the Matron Arena one was the most surprising to me. Because
I
obviously we manually put on the reasons because there's so many complicated requirements that
We had to vet some.
Yeah, we didn't want to put every single one on there. That's why we had the other option to sort of show which ones we might have missed, and I think that one is a big surprise for us.
having tried as a keyword, I've done some of it. I've not finished the requirement. Like, it feels like it's one of those pieces of content we haven't touched in forever in regards to like the archaic animations, obviously what we call P delays, which is obviously where it holds your character in place while it does a thing, so on, and all of that stuff, which obviously, you know, if time is put in to make it smoother, could be better. But I think this is just one of those examples, really. And again, I think ties into your point about people who have left it late. It's one of those time-intensive things, and I think ties into that as well.
Yeah, because I think a bunch of people might have done it at the time for Master Wand and and people who haven't been back to get these sort of spells. Because I remember Bone to Pieces was actually quite a good spell back in the day.
Yeah.
But obviously now it's more of a grind, more annoying, super old content, expensive.
There's quite a few people who are asking, does this mean that we're changing comp and trim, by the way? Is it worth addressing that?
It means we are looking at it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we're definitely making any changes to them.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're definitely not looking at trim right now. So anyone who's looking for the castle walls requirement to be removed, it's not happening right now. We're not looking at those requirements. We're fairly happy.
I do in the future, but just
we're fairly happy with the way trim is in general compared to normal comp. That doesn't mean that I think that requirement is fine, but it just means that we're not looking at it right now.
Okay. All right.
Cool. All right, let's move on.
And most enjoyable. There's some duplication actually on this list. Quest was on both.
Quest was 7th on the last one.
And increase all skills to 99 was on both, I think.
Yeah, but these are the sort of the easy ones you can tick off. Very nice ones. The ones you already get rewards for. So the quest ones, getting all skills to 99, and tasks was quite nice up there.
Reaper, Fight Kiln.
Reaper is obviously a very enjoyable and complicated requirement.
Fight Kiln. Wow, that's very much up there.
Yeah,
It's quite enjoyable now, isn't it? It's not quite the
the Arc mini quest surprised me being that high up. A lot of people seem to love the Arc and the mini quest for that. So yeah, I think it's quite.
People seem to accept story, don't they?
One of the trio missions. Look at that.
There you go, Dave.
Oh, I mean, it just goes to show how hard it is to pick through this data and.
Yeah.
But it's also helpful in terms of when we're constructing achievements, what's a good achievement. So that's good to unpick. How do you feel if a new game update comes with a requirement? This is a bell curve.
Yeah, so it's always been my impression that people with CompCape are super effing annoyed when a new CompCape requirement comes out.
Yeah, that's the impression that we get.
Right.
Yeah, that's the echo chamber that we seem to listen to. Well, we're not listen to, but get here.
Yeah.
That's the message that we get given.
But according to this, it's not actually that bad.
And this is the people who have comp as well.
Yeah, these are
worth noting.
These are people who have comp who have answered this quick question. Even the happy outweighs the frustrated.
I think this is a case of vocal minority. I also believe that you got to remember this is related to trim, but back in the Reaper update we did January of last year, of course, we introduced unlock all the Reaper stuff, which if anyone had used all their points prior to that update, they had no idea and been absolutely slammed with all this new items, all these new stuff they had to get.
Yeah,
which took time.
I don't deny that certain requirements.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
An absolute ball ache, but I was surprised to know that. Like first impression, I see a brand new content update. There's a CompGate requirement. How do I feel about that? And on balance, people aren't that fussed about it.
Yeah, we were definitely expecting that to skew way towards frustration.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about a lot of internally. Like, we haven't added a new CompGate requirement other than music tracks, I think, because that just happens anyway for some time. Yeah. Because we're worried about this sentiment.
Honestly, I thought indifferent would be down near to 0 and everything else would be higher.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't expect indifference.
More extremes.
Yeah.
Than
We don't aim for indifference.
No, we don't. But I could see it going that way because some people are like, well, actually, I got annoyed when they released this. However, when they released this other thing, it wasn't too bad. If you get comp, in my honest opinion, if you get comp, you should be accepted. You should accept the fact that we will add stuff that you will have to do, but trust in us to not add something that's going to be absolutely absurd and so on and so forth.
Trust in us.
Yeah, hell yeah, trust in us.
Just trust in us in general, I think would be nice.
Yeah, yeah. I think, personally, the Slayer to 120 Amnesty, I think, was a very interesting topic in regards to comp cape, because obviously they've given a month, I believe, was there a month to get it? 3 months, sorry, 3 months, apologies. And I thought that was fine, because it was a timed thing to get, but we gave them the time to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we were worried at the time because it removed that I have been the first to get my comp cape back.
Yeah.
So the chase was removed, and a lot of people like that chase, but yeah, seemed to go down reasonably well. All right, skilling. We're going to rattle through this, Timbo. You ready?
General skilling or new skilling?
General skilling, not new skill yet.
My problems,
You still have, this is your second or third 3 parts.
Oh, okay. Go, hit me. Ah, right, yeah. So this section's more about the skilling plan. So myself and Mod Ryan talked about this at RuneFest.
Yep.
The 5-year skilling plan. So some of that is part of it is diversity. So we wanted to figure out, are you interested in skill diversity? I think the answer is an absolutely overwhelming yes.
Both. It's like near identical, isn't it?
Yeah. Slightly better would be want more GP. The bottom one is GP and the top one is XP.
Yeah, but for a lot of people who say that kind of RuneScape is laid back or EasyScape or AFK, it's really nice to know that people are interested in it.
Yeah, I think it's nice that we have, like, RuneScape has this, like, EasyScape mentality, everything in AFK.
Yeah.
Things like the beach and all that sort of stuff.
This is just debunking it a bit.
And this sort of proves to us that players are actually like, no, actually, if you put something in front of me that requires my attention,
then I'll make that choice.
then I'll constantly make that choice. I might go for AFK, that's fine. But
Yeah.
actually, if I do want to get intensity, if I do want to pay attention to the screen and get more experience for it, then I will.
Okay.
And I think that is really useful for us. It really reinforces our 5-year skilling plan.
Yep.
So we'll try to make that happen.
We already
in
have.
5 years.
Oh, deep sea
Fishing
fishing.
Frenzy.
I mean, yeah, DC fishing is the first thing to do that. We've got some other things in the pipeline about making. I think Fishing Frenzy is probably a little bit more intense.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to think that we're making Fishing Frenzy.
Oh, so by intensity, you don't want them to think exactly
I don't want
that.
to think. Yeah. I don't want to think that everything is now Fishing Frenzy.
Okay, right.
Like I don't want people to think lighting fires is now like light fire, light fire, light fire, light fire, light fire. That's not how it's. When we say intensity, we just mean paying more attention to the screen.
Yeah.
Like at a bonfire right now, I pay attention when I run out of logs of my inventory. Whereas with line fire making, I used to pay more attention. I had to keep clicking and I had to keep paying attention to the screen. It's that's the slide.
We're going to be experimenting, right, and just trying.
Oh yeah, exactly.
To get
Yeah.
it right.
Yeah.
So like.
Sorry. I just want to make sure that diversity also means AFK and skills that don't have that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because there are, I know, some updates that are coming up that could be in that category. So please don't think we're just going intensive.
Well, yeah, I think one of the examples is divination. Divination is in a weird place where it's not AFK and it is AFK.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be adding more AFK methods to divination and probably adding more intense methods to divination. Try and get that skill diversity.
It doesn't have either.
If you want the baseline, you've got the baseline.
Yeah.
If you want to train it a different way, you've got cash. If you want to train it in a more FK way, we've got blah. If you want to train it in a more intense way, you've got X.
Iron smithing, as an example.
Well, mining smithing. So yeah,
We've been putting.
mining smithing has skill diversity.
We've been trying to get that into the core mechanics. So rather than choosing between 2 different methods, you can be more or less intense using the same method.
Yeah.
Doing it in a different way.
All right.
Next. So yeah, this is one of your pet bugbears, right?
Yeah, I think we surveyed something similar last time, but I have a personal worry that we are making it too hard for particularly a new player or a lapsed player to actually come in and get the optimal setup for doing anything, like loadout for going Slayer, or going do farming or whatever.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that is actually quite complicated.
Yes.
Yeah.
The loadouts that you have to carry for skilling.
It doesn't ask whether or not people like that complication.
Yeah.
So we are aware that that question is slightly imperfect.
Yes, I think the previous question necessarily did have that.
Yeah. So we're asking a slightly different version of that. So we now got a complete picture, which seems to imply that actually a lot of people do enjoy that complexity.
Yes, I think so.
But it is complex.
But it is complex, and that is a worry for us in a different level.
Yeah.
People might enjoy it, but we do have to think about.
I love the brackets no label on the left, by the way.
Thank you. I thought about adding something.
Oh, man.
All right.
All right, where we go next? Oh, overload. Okay.
Yeah. The actual question was, how important is it that it has an untradeable benefit?
I had to shorten it for
Soul
that.
Spit.
Come on.
Fits in the tiles.
I just didn't want to make sure. I don't want to think everyone think every load's going to have.
It's more a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Should
it's
every
more
skill
of a
have a
key
milestone?
Yeah. And overwhelmingly, everyone's like, yeah, please, please give every skill.
That's another one that's interesting because we were super nervous about talking about doing it just with smithing because it's been our policy for a long time to not do that because we don't want to feel like every skill is mandatory to get the amazing benefit it has.
If we remember the reaction to overload, admittedly that had the combat, it was plugging into combat at the time, which was risky, but regardless, we were worried about that cross skill or the high milestone.
Yeah. But it seems that everyone's really interested in these key milestones for skills.
Would we consider Perfect Plus overload benefit for skills? In that regard?
Maybe.
Yeah, because obviously the bonuses and stuff it gets. Is that like one kind of idea that we could take, for example?
It's kind of a skilling overload, kind of, but purely for priftiness. Or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah. Cool.
It's not purely for prif. I think it is mostly for prif. But, I mean, there could be a benefit in fire making that affects all of the skills. There could be a benefit in crafting that does something for combat potentially. I mean, yeah, that's the sort of thing we're talking about.
The problem is finding room to plug them all in.
Yeah. The problem is plugging room and also making sure that the bouncing or whatever you're touching doesn't get messed up.
Yeah, but that's your job.
That is my job. And
there were a lot of complaints when this question came out that it had a lot of missing things that are good for skilling, but this is more about the different balancing elements, isn't it?
Correct.
For me,
yeah.
The things that you can make overpowered and other things would come down.
Yeah, I did check the other to see if there was many comments.
Yeah.
The top thing to come up was social.
I expected a lot of people saying fun, like the enjoyment of training it.
Yeah, fun was a lot there as well, but like it wasn't as prominent as. Like, if someone you could have voted other and put fun.
Yeah.
But there wasn't that many people who thought that was the most important
Yeah.
thing to do.
I also thought that because we were obviously going for the balancing element on this, putting fun in there is not necessarily something you tend to use for balancing. Like if something's super fun but had low reward, traditionally that's told us that it won't be played.
Yeah, that's dead content really. So it doesn't matter what it
That's
is.
what we've seen consistently.
Fun is so subjective as well.
And it's
like,
subjective.
You know what I mean? Like deep sea fishing, there'd like be some people that go like they love like the fishing frenzy part because it's so like lean forward, and then other people that absolutely detest it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should be a byproduct.
Encounters are fun.
Anything surprising there?
I think there's much surprise there for me.
Okay.
And then
That's pretty much 50-50.
Yeah, I think the yes was really surprising to me. I don't know if people misunderstood the question and thought that, oh, I have 99 strength and I keep using strength. Therefore,
Rather than actively setting it as an objective.
Yeah, I think maybe we should have done a better job in the question. But I think it's surprising to me.
If we did master skill KP, it'd be interesting to ask that question again and see how it goes.
Well, we have we have the actual data for that, right? Like,
Yeah. Like it's worth bearing in mind. We are going to drill deeper into this and get specific cohorts. And
Why'd you ask it?
why did I ask it?
Is it a 120 thing?
Yeah, it's a 120 thing. It's if we put content at 99, would it still be used and trained?
Yeah.
Or if at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why I put it in there.
Okay. All right, new skill.
Oh boy, why is all me at the start?
Yeah.
Pacing.
Pacing. Do I get to leave later? So
You're gonna be so quiet later.
We're not going anywhere for a while anyway.
Oh really?
Oh.
wow, we're in a lock. It's a lock-in. Let's go.
Yeah.
Without any beer. So
That could be beer.
there could be beer. So this was really surprising to me. So obviously, we're not really looking at a new skill right now, but if we were going to look at a new skill, what questions we would ask? Obviously, our last skill was an elite skill, which was invention. But I mean, it had a different XP curve. You unlocked a lot of stuff from level 1 to level 20. There was no tutorializing of the skill.
Yeah.
It was more.
It was all valid to high levels.
All valid to high levels. It had high level requirements in order to get access to it.
Yeah.
Or had requirements in order to access it and all that sort of stuff. So just wanted to get an opinion on that, and I was really surprised that people really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I was worried because obviously Invention didn't have, like in terms of like initial response to Invention when it came out, it was probably lower than what we would have liked, or lower than comparison to other skills. So we wondered if that had killed elite skills for people.
But it appears not. It appears people seem to like the idea of requirements of a skill.
Yeah.
This lack of tutorialization, our ability to put cool unlocks from level 1 and not just from like level 70 or 80.
Yeah.
And different XP curve I thought would be a bit contentious.
Yeah.
But actually, the several results sort of like, actually people kind of like that sort of thing.
Okay, so elite archaeology is coming.
Correct.
Right.
What?
And then
It's not. It's not.
Can you, like...
Can I do a little disclaimer? So I do a troll face. Anyway, no, it's not.
you don't understand why we have unfinished business. Or had unfinished
I
business.
just realised we didn't do something that we said we were going to do.
What, the joke?
No, we were meant to announce
You know
something.
what I mean? Announcing nothing there, yeah?
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, we should do that in a minute.
let's hold up.
End of the skill section.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to the end of skill
You
section.
drop it at the end.
Oh
Yeah.
no, we just cut to us. Let's do it now.
Oh, well,
So no, bring it back once.
oh my...
Yeah. So determinately, we weren't going to announce anything based on the survey because we didn't want to show that just because something came high means that it will immediately get made. But that
Except we did.
except we're going to announce something. So second in the skill updates section was player-owned farm animal husbandry. That's come up really high in 2 separate surveys. So we're doing it. We're doing it, and we're announcing this now. It's good stuff. We're going to be talking about it, showing more of it within the coming months. But what this means is that the team that are working on it, who are the judges, can get onto Discord, and they're going to open up a dedicated Discord for it. I don't know if we've got that now. No, not now. We're going to do that later.
We'll send it when we get it.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing a forum post about it as well because they are looking for ideas. They want to have.
We do have the Discord link.
We do have the Discord link. Brilliant.
Spam in chat.
So we want to be super transparent about it, but we also really want your ideas, like what animals you would like, what rewards you would like. But yeah, that's coming this year. Player and Farm, we're really excited about it. So get involved with it, please do.
Is this like kind of like a spiritual successor to Pet Farm that we announced back in RuneFest 2016?
Pet Park, I still think is.
Sorry, Pet Park, you're right.
Yeah, Pet Park is still a thing. It does very different things.
Okay,
Pet Park
cool.
was like a collection log for pets. That also you could see them, you can interact with them. So that was exciting. You had your cushion.
It's so
Player-owned
hot,
Farm.
I can't have a cushion anymore.
Player and Farm is really about player owning a space on the surface world that they can dedicate to, and that they can grow and build, and there is a heavy animal livestock element to it. So the idea of breeding and potentially attracting creatures to your farm, leveling that up.
So you said judges team, which is?
That is Mod Rowley and Mod Raven, and currently Mod KOC. So they've just come off the back of Pieces of Hate and started in earnest on this. They're crazily excited. I think mainly because they're not necessarily working on a quest, which I think they like having a little break.
Sure, I had a mini quest element somewhere.
So we were all we've been pitching ideas. There's been so many brainstorms in house, and now it's the players' turn.
All right, there you go. All right, let's go back to the
Okay.
competition for Timbo.
From yak farming to.
So what kind of skill would you like the next skill to be?
So yeah, we asked this.
Broad.
We asked this again last year, but we actually got much different results this year than we did last year. So I'm surprised to see that gathering is so high.
Yeah.
So a skill like mining, or a skill like fishing, or a skill like
Divination.
woodcutting.
Divination is a good point of comparison.
Divination's a hybrid weird thing.
But that's what happened. It was intended to be a gathering skill.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the intention wasn't out. It became a hybrid weird thing.
Yeah, but I mean that really surprised me. Like the next skill should be like a simple skill. It shouldn't have a partner or like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit.
This was a multi-choice.
Yes.
It was a multi-choice. Yeah. So that would explain why it's quite spread.
Yeah, and the next combat up there as well, a brand new combat skill.
Yeah. Because I think last time that when
No
we
idea
asked
that would
this,
be.
new behaviours came out top.
It did, yeah. And new behaviours is third again, but there's a noticeable margin between third and second.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe it might be that a new skill, for example, does a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Who knows? We've got so much to unpick about that.
We're gonna have to figure out what that desire for a gathering skill means.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's truly understanding the true want of a gathering skill. It's not because if we release a skill, they just produce
Yeah.
resources.
Is it AFK? Is it money making? What is it?
But I mean, what is it gathering, and then what is that gathering being
Yeah.
used on? Like,
Yeah.
that is a bit of a problem. But yeah, that was quite interesting to us.
Okay.
And then this is the super controversial one.
Oh boy.
That split. This shows just how, as designers of the game, we can't please everybody at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So should it be 120? Who knows? Maybe we'll coin flip.
Yeah. We'll start with 105 and then move up to 110.
Yeah. Batch 1, batch 2, batch 3.
That's what I wanted to do for Slayer.
Dave, please.
What?
You just
You say something and look for a reaction. That's how we work, right?
They said
Keep
no.
saying things until.
No, they're
I mean, you
responding to that.
just see the chat is so split.
yeah.
isn't
I like
it?
these guys are like, they're spamming no and yes.
Go on, straw poll.
Oh yeah, I want to know the.
Wait, what?
See if it's as even as it is in the website poll.
I want 107.
I'm confused. I'm confused with the reaction of people to spam no and yes when we're showing them data where we've got the opinion of 30,000 people, and we're like, look, here's the results. Here's what we've got. And they're
Well,
like, no. I say no. I'm
you
like,
say
wait.
that, but now we're doing a straw poll because of it. So they
yeah,
have
I
won.
know.
They have won here.
Yeah, I don't know why we're doing
You've
that.
lost. You've lost. Anyway,
I think Dave's out of control.
So yeah, much
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, who knows?
this is particularly pertinent.
Yes. So when would you like to know about a new skill? So the 4 options are
Wow.
at concept.
Okay.
So we have an idea for a skill, or we got a couple of ideas for a skill we'd like to know now. Should we release a design? Pretty much like we did with Completionist.
Yep.
So like we have an idea for a skill, we've got it all designed out, give us feedback on the design. During production, so here's the new skill, here's what it does.
Content showcase it maybe.
Yeah,
First time
content
we show it is
showcase,
like prototypes, that sort
Some
of thing.
prototypes, show some of the rewards, some of the sort of core loops, and
Or
then
construction it.
complete surprise. Should we just make a skill and then release it to you guys? And I know me and Dave have had an argument about what this data actually represent.
Yeah, you can read it in 2 different ways.
This,
My way is
this
right.
wasn't multi-choice, right? Just checking.
No, this was
Okay, cool.
So it's where I think the top choice is 43%,
Yeah.
which means that 43% of people would like to know about the skill at concept. But that doesn't mean that 57% of people would not like to know their concept.
I love how you're using this data.
That's how pluralities work. That's like the basic idea of how a plurality works.
Yeah.
That's how we elect our government.
Polls in the chat now if you want.
Go on.
Yeah, it's on screen.
Hold
It's
us
on,
on
it's
chat.
on the screen right there. You can see.
Oh, look, it matches our data.
Yeah, it is. It's the same. Like, it's amazing how that kind of thing
Slightly more yes than no.
So I think this question is interesting for us going forward when we do make a new skill.
Yeah.
At what point we involve players?
Yeah.
Probably at somewhere between design and concept.
I think we've talked, like, I know personally, I really like the hybrid of like, hey, give us your concepts for skills, but we do not necessarily announce which one we've chosen.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to a design stage, then we show what we've done.
Yeah, I think we'll probably announce we're making a new skill, give us some ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'll whittle them away. We'll have player surveys, internal surveys,
Yeah.
internal designs and pictures.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll
really
end up,
open.
and then we'll sort of
Sift.
come at you guys with a design probably.
Yeah, absolutely, hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Here we go. Oh, you get to, do you want to go sleep?
Oh yeah.
Okay. God, look at that. Look how small.
Oh my god.
That is so small.
Oh, I'm ready for this.
Can
All
you
right.
see that?
He's memorised it
Super
all,
top. I've memorised it too. If you
I haven't actually.
Super top is weapon diversity.
Yeah.
Then it moves on to abyssal monsters. Then player training via combat. Sorry, not player training via combat. Yeah.
Oh, that's my idea.
Solo abyssal boss, so Hostilius. New dragons. 2-player boss. And right at the bottom, if we're going to skip to the bottom, is Castle Wars 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
Colon that does it.
Is it?
I think it's the colon.
This is PvE Siege as well. I thought it would do much better because it's not forced multiplayer. Well, it is multiplayer, but not
PvP.
PvP or competitive. Anyway,
But yeah,
what were you surprised by as a council and you?
So we were happily surprised by weapon diversity coming on top. I mean, it's something we've like discussed at the last 2 RuneFests of like, you know, it's something we want to do. But like we've kind of been a little bit concerned that, you know, it's kind of appealing to a bit of a niche audience. It's like, you know, that top end combat who really want to sort of like fine tune their combat experience.
Yeah.
So seeing that like the masses actually want this, it's really reassuring. It's like it gives us more motivation to like try and like push ahead with it.
Yeah, because it's not a small project, and to see that,
No, exactly.
That's good. Abyssal monsters. I guess there's going to be a number of people, the anti-slayer mobs, as it were. Sorry, not mobs. That's confusing. Anti-slayer players.
Yeah.
Talk about this
Gangs.
as another Slayer update with its in second, but
I like the idea that like it kind of gives you that progression from like the current abyssal demons. Right now they're kind of like just trash mobs that you just like swing a cipher at like hours and hours. So it's like it's something extra. It's like a new challenge. We can give some new abyssal drops potentially. There's interesting things we can do there with it.
yeah. Seasonal Darkscape. Is that worth mentioning?
Where is
I know a lot of people pulled that out.
Down the bottom.
Oh, yeah,
So
so
one of the things that we haven't shown in the data that I would like to comment on is that we can also see like how the people voted on each of these. So Seasonal Darkscape, more than any of the other options on this one, for example, had a huge proportion of 5s, so really, really wanted it, but also had a huge proportion of 1s, please don't spend time working on this.
Yeah.
So there is a passionate niche, and that should also be,
Yeah.
you know.
But I kind of think, like, you know, something like, if you look at Deadman, for example, I imagine that would probably have a similar distribution if you polled it.
Yeah.
Because it's very much targeting a certain type of player.
I think Abyssal is so high because we've already shown we want to do something with it. Game Jam last year, as an example. So I think they know we want to do something, and that's kind of why it's up there, personally. But also for your point as well, Dave, in regards to, obviously, going a step up from Abyssal Demons up to this.
Yeah. I'm just surprised, like, the difference, okay, it's a small difference, but new dragons and Abyssal creatures, they're both likely Slayer mobs, right? So why is one dinked up higher than the other?
I think, Shawnee's point kind of hits it.
Yeah, familiarity.
Yeah, I'm surprised new dragons.
Yeah, we've got loads of dragons.
We've like put like
Maybe, yeah.
gemstone dragons out. Like,
Yeah, just like imagine how many
Appreciate
dragons
it,
we
yeah.
have. Like we've got what, more than 10
There's
types
so
of
many we
dragons.
haven't done, like ceramic dragons, paper dragons. I mean, it's like
paper dragons.
Paper dragons, do it. Okay.
They drop
Combat
polyhouse.
questions. Any surprise with that? I think we all knew that.
Yeah, like what's interesting is that like we've seen like over the past 2 years we've seen more and more people like shift to Revolution. Like full manual and Legacy have both gone down in that time. Legacy is like really dropping now, which is good. Like, you know, we've made quite a few improvements to Revolution. We like did Revolution Plus Plus last year.
Yeah.
So you can fire off your thresholds and your ultimate. So we're making it more and more accessible for you to be able to access the EOC combat system.
Should we be worried that 1% of people don't know what combat mode they use? It's a genuine question.
It might be they're using that as they switch.
Yeah, it might.
I guess. I just found it bizarre. I don't know. I'm like, wait, what?
Or maybe that's just Mod Ryan's one vote. The level 3 skiller. He doesn't know what combat he's using.
Yeah, maybe it's skillers. Like they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's a very.
I just wear a bow with no arrows.
Yeah.
How should
I thought
we
I
have
said-
numbers at the bottom for this?
Oh, look at this.
No, we have numbers.
Get over yourself.
How should we be introduced to the game?
I thought I added the full description of this. Can you remember it? As in, like, they're cut short.
So the top one is dropped in full, ready to use, like straight away, and then the bottom one is drop components that you then use a skill,
Non-combat skills.
a
yeah.
non-combat skill to complete
Make whole,
weapons,
yeah.
So like smithing, crafting, all this sort of thing. And I think basically the data says that we should do all three. Like it just kind of depends on what the content is. Like as an example for add-on to a previous tier, like we've got chaotics from Dungeoneering. People love doing Dungeoneering, but like level 80 weapons just don't. There's no real use to them. But so like if we had an add-on come from additional content, maybe new Dungeoneering content, we could sort of like tag them together and then make that relevant again.
But the useful thing here is that 90% of the ways we've done it is that green bar. Isn't it? Like the majority of ways that we've dropped gear has been via the top one, is it?
We've done drop components via Ascension, via Telos.
Yeah, we've
That
geared
use
more
non-combat
in the
skilling?
direction of yellow now.
It's cut in more recently
Okay,
towards
okay.
yellow. I've
Yeah.
just realised I'm talking to the mic down there. Whoops. Yeah.
But yeah, it shows that
But
we
yeah,
can have a
historically
balanced
it was
approach
almost
across
all
the
green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like for this accuracy one, it's this was asking like like.
Should we change the way
Do we
accuracy?
change the way accuracy works? Because we see this frustration with like auras. It's like, oh, when my aura's on cooldown, I don't want to go bossing anymore. And again, this is a really mixed bag. So like the top one is the current system as it stands, and then you've got a real split between different options. So I think like the result here is that realistically we have to go away and like talk to the community a bit more and like sort of drill down on what exactly.
I understand why they've done option 2 and option 3. Well, blue and yellow.
Do you take away from this that actually there are more people that want to change it than want to keep it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is that a good takeaway, or
I think that is, yeah.
like quite significantly by the look of it?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Boy.
Now this is Survey Monkey has failed me here. I could not order by the most popular.
Oh, okay. So that means the one on the fifth one up. Fifth one up is the most
Which
popular.
is high tier weapons with unique effects, which again like plugs into the weapon diversity which came top. So again, it's like it shows there's an appetite.
Yep.
Oh man.
And there's new spells and new abilities that are high, as well as power armor and new prayers.
Sounds like players want everything. Like there's a real.
There's not a lot between them all.
It's really hard. To
They're
like,
all really scoring highly
yeah,
there.
it's really
That's all
hard to,
above
like,
3.
pick a certain one out.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because it means we can use any of them as rewards.
Yeah.
There's broad space, yeah.
Oh, this is the interesting one. Reaper with Compcape. So yeah, like you can see that even though the majority is leave it as it is, I think that's 40-something%. So again, like there's a potential majority, or at least a 50%, which want some sort of change to happen. Where we've had discussions in the Combat Council is we've looked at content like Inferno, what Old School have, and Reaper is a real restriction for us to be able to push the combat system to the very extreme. Yeah. Reaper means like if you want Compcape, you have to be able to do all the bosses, but we may in the future want to do something which is like a completely unbelievable challenge.
Yeah. But forevermore, only 0. Whatever it is % of the player base
exactly.
can do.
And maybe we just don't add
That then
that content.
applies.
Maybe we just don't add that content to comp, and it's this weird, weird
Outside of Reaper.
exception.
Yeah.
But again, it is something like when we look at Compcape, it's probably something we need to discuss in more detail.
Yeah.
We keep running into that with our achievement systems in general, that we set rules for what counts as that, and then we make some content that doesn't quite fit those rules brilliantly, but now we're still bound to put it on.
Yeah.
This was me fudging your question, Mod Jack. So this is
Yeah.
Mod Jack question.
Yeah, we've been talking. So I talk to players a lot about the question: do you think new rune armor or old rune armor looks better? And people say old rune armor looks better, and this horrifies the artists. And my theory was that what people like about old rune armor isn't the lower poly count, but the fact that it looks like a piece of medieval plate armor in a funny color, whereas the new rune armor looks more like sort of armor you might wear into space. And this was sort of to check that. The problem with the phrasing was that we'd asked to check steel against elite black, because they're both kind of not that important in the game, but one is very grounded. And we ended up asking, do you prefer steel or dragon?
That was my fault. I thought that not enough people would know elite black, or the look of elite black to answer the question.
The problem is dragon is so
dragon.
iconic looking. Yeah,
but dragon is, can't help but you.
Some people are going to be like, well, of course I prefer dragon to steel. Who doesn't prefer dragon to steel? But that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want grounded armor. But for the purposes we're asking the question, I'm still satisfied with the response, which is, you know, almost a third of people say they prefer realistic armor.
Yeah.
That's a good basis for us to say from the mining and smithing rework, let's make player-made armor look more realistic.
I really like that.
But dropped armor can still continue to look ridiculous, like Terralith.
Yeah. All right, which segues nicely into more Mod Jack. Sorry, Mod Dave.
This is going to be a tiny thing.
This was shocking. I was so shocked by the number 1 on this.
Really?
Oh, really was.
Well, that's
Like,
always
genuine.
that one doesn't surprise me.
Sorry,
at all.
why does that surprise
I
you?
looked at it immediately and went, "Oh, yeah."
I mean, you'll see that at the end, but it's not only the context within the context of this, like it's come out higher than some of the quests, but also it's come out higher than a huge number of other updates in the survey, which is the quest point unlock
Quest
shop.
point shop, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if
Reward, it's
it's a reward, I can say anything that shouts reward. You got to remember, quest point unlock shop basically goes if you've got quest point cape, you have a lot of quest points, you could probably spend it in that sense, right?
Yes, but traditionally, this is again an assumption that I think has been challenged, that reward-oriented players do not want to necessarily play quests. So,
Correct.
So they probably want to be rewarded for the quest.
But they get rewards at the end of the
yes,
quest.
but this would push them to, you know, the top.
Well, there was a demographic point on there actually, which will come up again in a minute, which is when we asked people, what do you identify as? There were 2 questions. One was, what's your primary activity? And one was, which of the following activities do you enjoy? So exclusive and non-exclusive versions of the question. And for that, it was like 15% of players considered themselves primarily questers, but 55% considered themselves, they enjoyed quests, which is actually a very high result.
This is really different from the in-game poll as well, by the way. Like the Slayer quest is what, 10th here? I think
original Slayer Masters is 5th. On
no,
this.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
As in like Dragon Slayer or a Demon.
Oh yeah, down the
Slayer.
10th. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, and the interesting reason I think is that there's actually a different wording. On this one, it doesn't include Dragonkin in the options, and in the other one it did, because there was a little weird complexity of like I got it wrong basically. So it shows that if it's Dragonkin Slayer, I think that it bumps it up.
Oh, there we go then, Dragonkin Slayer.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then Dragon King Slayer 2.
Is there anything else to stand out there?
God Sagas is quite high up. I mean, they're really, you can see there, those are really close together. More so, I think, than any of the other categories.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's barely any difference between the second one and the last one.
Yeah, Boss Quest was higher in the in-game survey as well.
Yeah.
I think that Wise Old Man obviously kicked up a stink when we put it in there because certainly on the old school Reddit, because they were worried that we're going to steal time from Modash.
Yeah.
We were very much talking about like getting him involved in brainstorms and maybe design document, but I think you got to do that. Like if we tried to plough on with Wise Old Man without getting Ash involved, particularly as he's in the building, I want him involved. He's got a real sense of the
You
character.
can at least ask his opinion.
Yeah, indeed.
If he's too busy for anything more.
Oh,
I think
sorry,
the
sorry.
bottom ones were a little bit more interesting just because there's
Yeah.
more variation between them. So not much love for One Small Favour Two.
Who knew? Like everybody knows One Small Favour, and whenever we talk about it, people joke about, yeah, I'd love that.
Everyone always, every time, they're like, One Small Favour Two, let's make that.
Yeah.
I still
Apparently not.
I still want it.
No, the data says no.
Yeah, but I still,
Broken
I'm
Home
in
2, no
contact.
love for
Yeah.
that.
When it yeah.
No love for Broken Home 2.
So we love the idea because, of course, we were talking about like the use of the Asylum from Broken Home. Like we delve more into a Zerosian.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Might try
mental institution.
might try repolling it next year with different wording.
Yeah, yeah,
If it
indeed.
does any bad.
And the one that hurts me most is Death of Chivalry 2.
Yeah, that's strange.
I'd love Mod Stew to.
Because Death
Yeah,
of
I know.
Chivalry is actually a popular quest, or at
it's
least
so
we
good.
thought it was.
In terms of data, it's very, very well played. So behind the scenes, we can see this. We know that a lot of people play it.
But part of what you were trying to do here was give very simplified explanations of what
Yeah.
they were to see if people were excited based simply on the title.
That's it.
And they're not, and that's really strange.
So got to look at that. Other surprises like Underground Pass 2, I thought would be higher for me. We had a bit of secret
No one
writers
enjoyed
in that.
Underground Pass 1.
Again, and when we ask people what their favourite quests are, that comes up a lot.
Ugh.
So I think it's a certain genre of quest.
If you go upstairs and ask all the players, they memorise the Underground Pass like, maze so much.
Yeah, indeed.
And they hate everything.
Just like flashbacks.
Yeah.
Also, one takeaway is that people don't want humour right now.
Yeah.
So Random Event Quest was very much, had in my mind that it would be quite humorous. Ernest the Longsword was very, very humorous. And Reworks Sorting the Wound, I guess, I thought would be high too. A lot of people talk about Sorting the Wound being a problem.
Yeah, we thought, yes, we were under the impression that might... I mean, it's a law community problem more than anything else.
Yeah.
I think let's just leave it alone and forget about it, is what a lot of people are saying.
Okay, story questions.
Yeah, this is a good one. So this matches up to the data I was talking about earlier. So that's roughly 15% of people said that lore is the reason they play the game, and another 40% of people said lore is important to them, which is actually, I think, surprisingly high. Every time we ask this question, we're surprised by the answer, because our stereotype is that the hardcore combat players and the hardcore skillers just don't care about lore at all.
Yeah.
And this is
So like almost put them in two different spaces, like don't
Yeah.
do story and skilling content. For
Exactly, yeah. And it matches up to the people who say, it's 55% of people who say lore is at least important to them, and that matches up to the number of people who say they enjoy questing. That's not surprising in that regard. But I would consider like more than 50% of players care about lore. And in particular, in this case, of the selection bias that we get in the survey of like, well, these are our most dedicated, most hardcore players, actually it counts in its favour in this regard of like, if you would have thought of like really serious RuneScape players and you're outside the lore community, you might think, well, they don't care about lore.
Yeah.
Turns out more than half of them do at least.
Yeah.
And the ones who say they genuinely don't care at all, it's actually very small.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very positive response for those of us who like making.
We've got a few questions that are very similar. So
Yeah, how important are new graphics? This is sort of how much of the budget should we spend?
yeah,
There's an interesting
Are we spending
point
it
came
right
up
areas?
recently of like, should we have taken, so deep sea fishing is quite lavish visually, should we have taken some of that budget, put it into Pieces of Hate, which was only played once? And we made, I think, deep sea
I
fishing got more.
think that was the right call.
Yeah, this seems to
because
sort of bear that out.
and to be fair, oh my goodness, I'm having an absolute brain fart. Mosler Hamless, they even updated the trees very quickly, and that's made a lot of difference just to that small area itself.
Yeah.
And that was, something small. Graphics are absolutely important for a quest, if you want to have a cutscene, visuals, and environment. But to your point, yes, because it is only played once, is it worth that time? Which
Yeah.
is like the most important thing.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say that we look at that quest result, that poll result, and go, "Oh, we're not going to put any graphics budget in
No,
quests
yeah.
anymore."
no,
But we've been operating under the assumption, I think, for a while that quests have to be
Pretty
like
lavish.
Fate of the Gods level,
yes,
lavish.
yeah.
And hopefully we're allowed to make some that aren't like that.
I think it's dependent on the content, isn't it? Like Back to the Freezer, people seemed okay with that being less rework. Sorry.
Similar for is important to have unique gameplay, which is something we've been struggling with a bit, because when we're making quests, unique gameplay tends to be both the most expensive thing to develop and also the most problematic thing for both testing bugs. You know, it's by far the
completion
most
as well.
challenging part of making it. Oh yeah, and yeah, people just stuck on the gameplay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
you think like Pieces of Hate, we effectively reused
the boss
not
fight.
Nastroth.
Yeah.
Agaroth.
Agaroth,
Yeah.
that's it.
Agaroth.
In Nastroth. So we were worried that people would. I mean, we had mechanics that people would see through that, but it seems like people are okay with it as long as you're adding something.
Yeah. Like,
Little something.
Like, I mean, we can do more to drill down on that, but the essential takeaway is it is not critical that all quests are constantly filled with brand new bespoke gameplay.
What would we
Novice
consider?
surfing.
Like, what are we considering? Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like lava
surfing.
surfing
That's a mod day special.
Children of Ma, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was hell.
Oh man.
Yeah, because Children of Mars was very intense on new gameplay, and some of it went down
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and some of it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had something like 3 unique puzzles or something. 3 or pieces.
Yeah.
It had memories,
Yeah.
lava
Yeah.
serving, and then the Ma bit, the memories
dark-
bit. Yeah,
yeah, darkness.
that mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
This was
then
actually the highest of all
Same
the.
question for combat.
So this was slightly higher in terms of the blue bar.
Yeah. This is a similar question. Like, we're seeing just a very small number of people think quests should always have combat or shouldn't have combat. The way I phrased the question is perhaps slightly misleading, although I phrased the answer of sort of only if it makes sense to the story. I imagine a lot of people tick that option who don't actually care whether it makes sense to the story. It's just they're not hardcore, I always want it or I always don't want it.
Yeah.
And combat sometimes, I think, is what we've interpreted from that.
Cool.
And this one surprised me, actually. I thought this would be much more positive. So something I've been pushing for is let's try and get story into all like rather than having to wait for a quest to get some story, let's get some story and everything. I thought people would be more on board with that. But actually this, like some updates can have story.
Are you saying in regards to, like, for example, how God Wars Dungeon 2 had its mini story? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. What are they called? Like, Tales.
Mini-
Tales. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously a sliding scale of this. It's not only just dropping a journal in. It might well be. Do you think it also includes like how well it fits the world?
Yeah, I would say, it's got something to do with what's going on. It's got connect rather than being a completely made up thing. It's a
Like that Sliss game monolith that dropped into the Grand Exchange. That could have just been a random event that happened.
I think we've done like some interesting stuff, like deep sea fishing again as an example. It just has like those little bits of like story and narrative in it. It's like you've got the ring that you can fish up and return.
Yes.
Just those
Certain
little
fishing
touches.
rod.
I think they add like nice little elements.
But it's not. It's specifically, it's not connected to the ongoing story of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This one, unfortunately, the result I've got from this, I have no idea how to interpret. The one that is the most difficult to understand has come out top. This was just I was interested in the distinction between so lore books are something that's very cheap for us to produce, and it's often quite difficult to work out what the value of it is. And so I was intrigued to say, should we put more cutscenes in quests? Should we put more dialogue in quests? And what's come out top is gameplay, which seemed like it ought to be on there for the sake of completion. But I don't have any idea what people might have meant when they answered that. And that wouldn't have mattered if it had come out at the bottom, but because it's at the top now, we're going to have to try and figure out what that means. Because when we asked earlier, do you want unique gameplay in your quests? They said, not that bothered.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to have to do more to figure out what that means.
I think lore books is probably slightly lower than I expected.
Yeah.
It being quite a way behind examines, is an object.
I mean, there's a lot of love for examine, so that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's worth. That result is sufficiently surprising and also unclear what it means to be worth more investigation.
I'm a little surprised voice acting wasn't asked as a question in quests, if I'm honest.
I think it's partly because, to be frank about it, the answer doesn't really matter very much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's less a design, more of a production problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not that we can't do it; it's that the bad outweighs the good, really.
Cool.
So we can ask people, "Do you think voice acting is good?" And they'll say yes, because they don't see the cost of it. Like all other things considered equal, voice acting is just better than not voice acting, with a couple of weird exceptions. It's just better. But the cost it imposes on what we do. Sorry, when I say cost, I don't mean like we have to pay money because we're happy to pay the money. It's more.
It's the impact on development.
The impact on development. I have to get the dialogue ready 3 months in advance. Like if the quest's coming out right now, the dialogue, the cut-off date is 2 weeks before the quest comes out.
Yeah.
We've really got, well, sometimes 3 weeks. We've got to get the dialogue finished. So that's quite a lot of time. With voice acting, it's got to be done 3 months in advance.
Yeah, and the words can't change.
Yeah.
Because the voice lines have already been recorded.
Yeah, we have to go back to London and
What
find
other
some more
stuff?
voice
Whenever you change anything post-launch,
Yeah.
We're always beholden to what was in
So
there.
right now,
before.
I can, if someone spots a law fail, I can just go in and change the dialogue. And there's a bit of, it needs to be QA'd, it needs to be translated, but the overhead of that is very small.
Maybe we worry less and we just go in and voice it ourselves. Just do a little kind of, and then he came across the creek.
I think we did
do it
propose
ourselves.
that, and the audio team said no.
All right. Top area world updates. This wasn't really anybody's. This is
This is
a kind
Dave's section.
yeah, go on then. Why not?
Good luck reading this.
Yeah. So top is exploring the wilderness after the explosion in the wilderness.
Yeah,
Which
came out really high.
Yeah, that did come out really high. So this is a collation of all the area updates and also the world events. So it's all like kind of brought together. That was really surprisingly high. That's a theme that when it was mentioned, we really liked. We were worried a little bit about the time travel element. So it seems that actually, it's close to 4, so close to, very important or very exciting, I think.
Yeah.
It shows that the time travel element isn't actually as much of a bother as we think. The biggest one by far for me, in terms of a surprise for this list, is Dungeoneering Floor 61 being that low. It is rock bottom. That is way below even things that are purely old school, so really contentious. So Zaya, and also Fossil Island.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because we've seen Floor 61, or we've been there with Stalker Creatures, Song Amongst Thieves?
I know that in-house we have plenty of ideas for what that would be.
Yeah.
So it shows the disparity of we have lots of stories we want to tell and things we could do, but that hasn't gone out to the player base. It doesn't feel like we've communicated that very well.
Yeah.
Perhaps, or either actually, because that dungeoneering word is there immediately is niche.
Yeah.
People don't like it, so I'd love to find out a bit more.
It comes bundled with the assumption that you have to be Dungeoneering 120 to do it.
Yeah, which
isn't
immediately limits it.
necessarily true, but it's a reasonable assumption.
You're absolutely right. Everything else on this list doesn't have any form of limiting. You have to be a certain kind of player to enjoy it. All of these are broad. So it comes below lots of new things like the giant homeworld, which has come kind of midway, which is interesting. Sea monsters attack. I love that, and I love that as a theme. The idea of the sea suddenly being dangerous and working around that for a period of time is really cool.
The one I was interested in was that Exploring Infernus came in slightly ahead of Exploring Avenir.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about Avenir lots and lots and lots and lots and lots, and Where's Rite of Passage
Yeah.
has become a meme by this point. We've never really talked about Demon Homeworld at all.
I wonder I don't know if it's fatigue on Abner or if it's the excitement of not having really thought about demon homeworlds and wanting that.
A Demon Homeworld kind of sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
think demons just sound cooler, don't they?
Yeah, too soft, cooler than birds.
Then I asked a few event
ready.
questions. Here we go. So which of the following events do you enjoy? So then we kind of broke down all of the different temporary pieces of content that we've got. Double XP weekends was a no-brainer. We knew that would come high. Holiday events also to a degree. This was, by the way, before we'd already made the decision about Easter, by the way.
Yeah.
It's worth noting.
Which
Easter
is
folded into Spring Fair.
Right. Okay. So Easter, just to clarify, Easter event is Spring Fair.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Gathering Butterflies.
And Trip
Yeah. So you couldn't say, so why did you do that with Easter? But still, it came out relatively high. I think the surprises were world events and winter weekends. Then you get a bit of a drop-off. Winter weekends...
Why does that surprise you?
Well,
I'm
winter
genuinely
weekends
curious.
It's actually quite lean in terms of development time to
Yeah.
put them together. Relatively lean thing for us to do. And that's... I mean, it doesn't have to be specifically for the winter. One of the questions that we got coming up,
It's scored quite highly.
it scored quite highly, the idea of monthly winter weekends. Like making each month a theme. Like say we've got a skilling piece of content, a quest piece of content, then maybe you've got a monthly weekend that's about combat. It means everybody's got something to do, and it just kind of shifts up the meta as well. You're fighting things that you don't normally fight, or you're going somewhere you don't normally go. And that's quite interesting.
So I think personally, I am surprised you're surprised Winter Weekends is up there.
Yeah.
Only because
We're all surprised.
Winter Weekends covers so many different genres in game. It covers
Yeah.
mini games, PVM. It covers just your generic combat as well. But
Yeah.
also you got to remember, when you see Winter Weekends, you automatically associate the Advent calendar with that as well. So that
Yeah,
is
fair
one thing
enough.
that you perceive
Maybe.
there.
There's
When games did come before?
No, yeah, of course. But in the last 4 years, or 3 years, whenever, however long it's been, you see a winter weekend, I got these bonuses that I can do on this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I can look forward to that, or even Mega Man as well.
I think it's the power of those bonuses.
Yes,
Like
agreed.
we offer quite powerful winter weekend bonuses.
I really like them because they tell me what to do as well. I'm often short of objectives, so having this weekend means that, I'm going to do that this time.
You go do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of directional. And world events, you know what? We've said so often that we're not doing world events anymore. like, you know, we've knocked it on the head because they were so big and lavish and expensive. They don't have to be, and this has shown that there's a little bit of love still there. Down the bottom, yeah, bingo cards, road trips we haven't done for a while. Yeah, not too many surprises.
Road trip in 2015, the last time we did one, I believe.
Yeah. Then there were a few ideas that I just wanted to chuck on. This was a cheeky addition for me, like things that we've been talking about recently, and that's the monthly winter weekends. So it is worth noting that we've got to put this in context. That is half of the people who answered this question, or just over half, who liked the top answer.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is still, like if you were putting this up against some of the other updates that we've already shown and the love for them, this is somewhat lower. So I think the temporary content does have this inherent, you know, maybe people don't like DailyScape, or they don't like it that it's temporary, or wish we spent the resources elsewhere. So we have got to take that into account. Regardless, monthly winter weekends, out of all of them, it's probably also the easiest for us to put together, and can be recurring. And I really like it. Yeah. So, and then it was just what is essential for a seasonal holiday event. This is like, we've talked about this so often, like, should it be a quest or have a mini quest? People hate, you know, it seems every time we put out a seasonal event, we pendulum swing to something else that we shouldn't be doing or should be doing, because it didn't feature in that holiday event, and I just wanted to ask it. And I think the biggest surprise is that second one. It's not highlighted because it was surprising, it's highlighted because it was really long, and I wanted to pull it out. But access to older holiday events and their rewards was second. And I thought personally, that was my most surprising.
Why?
Well, because I thought there was a number of people who didn't want those old rewards to come back. And also, when we put together an event that was almost entirely a recap of previous events, actually the engagement was the lowest we saw in any Christmas event.
But you got to remember that we have followed the pattern of always giving out the rewards from previous events for many years now, actually.
Yeah.
So people maybe are accustomed to that. And
Not all the cosmetic rewards.
No, not all of them,
certainly
but past years and
So
stuff like that.
So you think it's interpretation of the option that people thought it was, yeah,
If we've done some, we may as well do all kind of thing.
Okay, cool. All right. And then MISC. So we'll all jump on this one. Sorry, guys.
Oh,
Oh, look at that.
God.
That's terrible. So
jump on that.
top is world map improvements.
Yep.
Then it moves into dedicated month of quality of life fixes, so Ninja month. Decluttering of the game map is next. And then I just can't read that fourth one.
Reducing simplifying something.
Reducing and simplifying currencies is the fourth one.
Right.
Okay.
Make functional something. P. ...
The bottom one is probably my biggest surprise, which is remove Tusker from the game world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of
In-house-
love for Tusker, wasn't
Yeah,
there?
in-house we all thought that Tusker was,
An
you know,
eyesore.
yeah, an eyesore, and was very sixth agey, so people didn't like that. On the world map, it looked black. You know, it just had this black outline.
Is this single or multi-choice?
Single?
This is give a score out of 5 for each of these updates.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right, okay. Cool.
So this also was true of the in-game one. So we were all for either reducing Tusker to like very small, like just see like a bit of a poking through the ocean, maybe turn up to rock like we talked about before, and move most of the content onto the beach. But people just
But yeah, I
keep
saw
it.
forum threads and comments, and they were
Yeah.
like, leave Tusker alone.
I think what
like we made that decision to have Tusker be punched there by Virago.
Virago, yeah.
So
Well, we did choose Virago,
it was,
but
part,
yeah.
it was part of a world event. So I'm talking without the microphone. I'll have to repeat that. So we made that decision to obviously have Virago punch Tusker, but like it was from a world event, so why not stick with it, right?
I thought people might be worried that we're closing the portal to Mazcab.
true.
No, there'd be no more
That definitely
raids
was the
and no
case.
more Gaby Burns, but no.
Yeah. And in terms of the top end, I think dedicated month of quality of life fixes is probably a surprise.
Yeah. It consistently comes up as sort of, every so often someone will go, Jagex, just stop making updates until you fix the
Please
game."
fix your
Yeah,
game.
Like, that doesn't-
I'm going to ask it again. Why?
Because that's a mainstream thing.
But-
So I always thought that was a minority who would like stop making updates, give me some ninja fixes.
Right. I believe in the fact that people can appreciate a new content in a game update. However, they will always love it if you can do quality of life stuff that's correspond. Luck Rework is a perfect example. Look at how well Luck Rework did. That is a perfect example of QOL.
Thank you very much.
Like just the simple.
I don't
fact of that.
disagree with you, but inherent to that option, I feel,
Yeah.
is you're not getting an update. And that's the surprise for me.
Yeah.
But it also brings life back to that.
It may be that they're not interpreting it Like it may be that they go, like, well, I'm going to get a month of Ninja updates, and then also all the other updates I would have got anyway.
But we did it already.
Yeah.
We're going to do a month worth of Ninja updates and other days.
But again, because this is like vote on a scale of 1 to 5, that is, in my opinion, will always place high.
All right. All
Sure,
right.
well.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've been told, and this is what we're doing it for. It's to challenge our assumptions. So completely changed. Okay. Top overall. I thought I'd kind of bring them all into a list. This is really sexy, by the way. I've put a lot of effort into this.
Oh, okay. Come on.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought I'd go from 11 to 20.
At least it's
Wait,
readable.
you got for 11 to 20, but said overall top 10 in the title.
Oh, all of a 10.
Is the title wrong?
The title is wrong.
title is
This
wrong.
is 11 to 20 because you got to work your way down. Get exciting. Anyway,
I'm so confused.
Right, hold on.
imagine there's a top 20. This is 11 to 20.
Right, so this is
okay,
11
right.
to...
Okay, so it's the top 20. Yeah.
So, okay, here we go. I don't think there's any surprises there. Then we move into the top 10. So these are the things that people wanted most. Now, I think when you look at it like this, that top 3, you can't market any of those. Like, it's interesting because you can't slap it on a poster. It's not an expansion. It's not a quest. It's not a piece of skin content. You can't necessarily play through it.
Yeah.
These are all... It's kind of similar to what... when we did the end of year survey.
Yeah.
Like the top updates
Yeah.
okay, yeah, Manifos, but the following 6 were all of like boss logs, high scores, things like, luck reworks. And it just shows that actually, hey, quality of life fix, here we go. Like, there are things that you could do to just the core game at the moment that will improve that, and you don't necessarily have to have a big land mass or boss.
It'd be interesting to know if
Right.
that's the sort of thing that people are expecting when they talk about a month of fixes.
Yeah.
Like, is that an update or is that a fix in people's minds? Is a really interesting question.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
fine.
we see it as an update for sure.
Yeah.
But whether or not
But as Dave says, it's an update where there's nothing to really
Yeah,
get your teeth into except keep doing what you're doing at the moment, but with better or more.
Yeah. Or tracked or
So what are we doing with this top 10 then? What becomes
throwing
of
it in
this?
the bin.
Throw in the bin. Okay.
We're done. We asked the question.
Oh, so judges has just found out that fan updates are happening no more, no?
So first of all, you can see that number 4, because we want to talk about it now and be transparent about it, get people's ideas, we're making. So you can already see that we're actioning this. We're doing stuff about it. The other stuff, we're not gonna, we can't make promises. I don't want to add to unfinished business. This is all about, like, we're doing this transparently because we want people to know. Please do not take these as promises, but you can know for sure that these have suddenly jumped up our backlog.
Cool. People are going to ask about bank rework, obviously. Can we,
Yeah.
So...
It's worth making a caveat. There was a lot of things that weren't in the survey because we'd already asked about them before, so we felt we had got the information.
Okay.
Or they're already on our unfinished business, or we're developing them already. These are things that if we just, like, say we polled something we're developing already and it came really low, what do we do? do we just cancel that project? I don't know. So we made the decision to not include them.
So just to clarify, so the survey we've used the survey to allow us to get a list of what we think or what players want to then allow us to push for that on the backlog and stuff like that.
And what I'm seeing, and do tell me if otherwise, is that staff are looking at the updates with a kind of, oh my god, that's going to get really good reaction. I want to work on that.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm absolutely all for working on that update now. And the next slide, bonus round, build a backlog.
Right. Okay.
The annual survey has shown us that actually it's really exciting as a team to see people voting on the updates on our backlog. It helps us prioritise what's on our backlog. And I think players are also really excited about our future, if you can see what potential ideas we're coming up with. And also to see their own ideas, because player ideas can factor into it. So what we're looking to do is to do this kind of poll regularly. I'm not going to say monthly, we're going to try, but regularly. So what I've got is all of the updates that we're going to be putting out into a poll next week.
Okay.
It's going to be in a similar way. It's going to go in game. So vote on those options that you would like to see us make.
So I'm assuming these options are going to be clarified in a post, etc.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So a blog goes out at the same time to give a bit more clarification, because these are really kind of one-liners. So we break them up into small, medium, and large. And just to give a little bit of reveal, these are the smaller ones.
Allow players to switch options. Oh, yeah.
So we'll probably
Sorry.
clarify
I'm just so these are going to have like points, but then clarify with more information of what it is
within the blog. Yeah. So ops is a bit of a technical term. This is the right-click operations on a given item.
So if you want your enhanced Excalibur to be activated as the first option, you could change that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So these are like we've got all personal favourites. Some irrational like mine. I loved the Gillinor Games agility sprint. That was like 6 years ago now. And the prospect of bringing that in permanently with probably a rebalance to agility XP. Anyway, but there's some good stuff there, and that's the smaller things. Headline, faster Menopause reputation ×2 across the board. That's probably worth.
Yep.
I don't think we're entirely happy with where it is now. And we think it might be time to do that. It might well come with a Pyramid Plunder rep, as in rep from Pyramid Plunder at the same time.
Do you want to touch on invention tools? No. Hunter, in that sense. I mean, sorry?
Nope.
Okay,
It
cool.
wouldn't necessarily only be augmentable, it might be constructible. So what term do we give to constructible invention stuff?
No,
Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. You went all ramen.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, but so it wouldn't necessarily be
Devices.
augmentable. Devices, yes, there we go, devices. Here's the mediums. Anything that kind of jumps out at you? Oh, look, Cyrodiil's Origin Quest.
Ooh.
A Mod Timbo special.
Skill cape
Like a
quests.
Yeah, this is reasonably contentious because skill cape quests, like our level requirements for quests have not really gone beyond about 86, 87, I think it is. This would push it to 99. We'd have to determine whether or not it's a single 99. I really like the idea of a Hunter skill cape quest, a Slayer skill cape quest, that kind of thing, unlocked at level 99. But maybe, I don't know whether or not we chicken out and actually say it's like ports. You have to have a 99 to do this quest. We'd probably poll that or do something similar. But the idea of a reward that is a cosmetic upgrade to that skill cape and more perk choice is cool.
Max's big day out.
Yeah, Max has been. I was talking about this on Twitter with some people because there is I think it's the Hunter skill cape tutor, who talks about a Rahani Wildcat whose pelt makes all of the skill capes. So it's got that nice feel of that. And the extra contentious one is probably the bottom one.
Okay. Trim skill / combat pets. Yeah.
The idea of, so there's one or two routes you could go. One is if you get the pet again, and we would allow you to get the chance of getting the pet again, it would trim it in some form. Recolor, improved looks, whatever. But is that moving the goalpost and is it doing too early? Like, we want to find out. But it might also be another path, which is do some kind of series of feats or achievements with your pet.
What if I could skin one of my pets and make the other pet wear it?
Wow.
Jeez.
That sounds good.
hot.
That sounds like Hunter to 120.
I love the Cyrodiil's Origin Quest. I think that'd be cool.
Go on,
Thank you.
Go on, what's
Oh,
your,
yeah, fine. Oh, okay.
talk us through it.
Just like her relationship with her dad, Cyrodiil. How did she become a Slayer Master? She's quite young, I think, in game,
Yeah,
technically.
yeah.
How did she make a dungeon? Like, what do you need to do to become a Slayer Master? That sort of thing. I thought it'd be quite a cool origin story.
Yeah.
We also don't know who her mum is.
Yes, that's right. And a lot of players have speculated on it.
Yeah, so
That'd be awesome.
Because she's a powerful warrior. Her dad was a powerful warrior. Who's a mum?
Yeah.
What was life like in Shiloh Village?
I like it. And then larger.
So obviously quests jump out straight away. There's two, quests naturally are.
Spoda
most of the time
quests.
This is
larger,
again
yeah.
showing us reacting to the player surveys. So the in-game survey told us the boss questing was really good and viable. Like something that people like the idea of, like finding the origins of these people, these monsters.
Well, it's like I remember World
forget.
Wakes was so cool
Yeah,
because like saw all the God Wars bosses and they were like fighting and
yeah.
like going around. Neck showed up at the end, and like that was really cool. And having a quest with Araxor, that would be.
Well, I mean, all we know about Araxor is that vampires are scared of him. And obviously Araxi factors into this as well. So what does that mean? Why is it there? What are vampires doing about it? I really like the idea of joining some kind of vampire crew to go into Araxor or something like that.
Oh, we could have
Sail
Vam.
Araxor around.
Yeah.
A what?
I want Vampires Against Monsters.
Oh, yeah, do it.
I love the two biggest ones for me there: Ori work and challenge improvements, and reducing daily escape. Personally,
Yeah.
right off the bat, those are the two biggest ones for me
That's
personally.
interesting. Yeah, reworks has certainly shot up to the top of a lot of our previous polls.
So for me, like based on what I've seen, like at least one post a day about you need to be a member for 9 months to get a tier 3 Berserker aura or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just like how it all falls into splashing and so on.
Do you want to talk it through the kind of things you were thinking about?
Well, yeah, like so as part of pitching an aura rework, I had these numbers down and like
Yeah.
I went through all the essential auras you need for PVM, and it takes like 20 something months, or something like that. I think that's at maximum loyalty as well. That's not even like if I subscribe today. If I subscribe because of the way it ramps up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, I think so. The way we're looking at it is changing. Do we want to talk about everything? Talk about all?
Well, we can clarify that we're not entirely happy with that situation and we'd like to try and do something.
Yeah, we're trying to get auras to be a bit more accessible, possibly changing the way auras work. So we talk about it in the Comic Council, not having auras be required for bossing.
Yeah.
Maybe just removing accuracy auras altogether.
Yeah.
Just one thing, it says reduce daily escape, but then in aura it says gain currency for belonging.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, it's a bit of a...
Yes. So first of all, the aura rework would be completely frictionless. As soon as you log in, you get it.
Right.
So it's not a sense of, oh God, I've got to spend more time. So my session is dominated by it. So playing is dominated by it. So that would be something. But yeah, we've got to be sensitive to it.
There's so much wrapped up in the concept of daily escape of like telling me when I need to play the game, telling me when I need to log in, telling me how long I need to play for, telling me what content I need to play, are all different problems that we wrap up as daily escape. So some people have no problem with playing RuneScape every day. So if we required them to just play every day, they'd be fine with that. But they don't want to be told which content to play, and that's what daily escape means.
But this is also removing concurrency. Like one of the problems with the membership and loyalty stories, that the idea that I have to keep membership concurrent and things like that. You have to keep it going, and that's not, of course, we're not going to have sudden multipliers if you do day 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, that's not the current design. So we'd be very sensitive to daily escape there. And of course, you don't have to log in on a particular day. We're not going to have a windfall day where you suddenly get loads of currency.
Cool, right.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, right. All right, there you go.
What is the time? I've lost all concept.
6:25.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We should probably go home.
Wow.
Let's go back to
It's a
our
big old stream.
lives.
We need to talk about it all.
It was important though. We had to go through it all.
Sorry to the people behind the camera.
We've been here for 3 hours. It's so warm.
Oh man. All right. So I think apart from that, that will cover everything. Is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap up?
Just because these ideas are in that poll at the end doesn't mean we're making them. They need to be polled, and then we've got to determine it. So if you're worried about things like skilling trim, I see people worried about trimmed pets and auras. Like, don't worry about it. It's all part of the process.
If you don't want them, we won't make them.
Yep.
Simple as that.
And we're going to look at feedback.
That's the key message, I think.
Yeah.
Game jams happening in like 2
2 to 3 weeks.
Friday.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know if you've got any game jam ideas. I've had loads of ideas already. I've had loads of ideas about chemical onyx jewellery.
There we
Don't worry
go.
about that. I'll probably be posting my thoughts and designs before the game jam, so I can get some player feedback on it.
I want to work with Shawnee.
Well,
Are we going to do it?
can do.
Yeah. We've got a piece of content we want to work on, so that's good.
We can do if you want. Yeah. I'm
So, yeah.
up for that.
People are asking about the spring fair as well, so it might be worth.
What about the spring fair?
I'm gonna take a guess and say they're gonna probably talk about XP rates of Sprint Fair as the concern right now.
So XP and token rates on Spring Fair, I know we always say we're monitoring, but it's a 4-week thing. Spring Fair's going to be around for a long period. We don't want to do something on day one, so we're going to keep track of it. So we haven't got the stats in yet, so something might change soon.
Yes, token drop rate, I think.
Yeah,
Is it tokens rather than
it's a
XP?
mix. It's. I think some people can appreciate why it's a little more less XP because obviously it's now all free in that sense.
Yeah.
But it's the token drop rate seems to be the big problem that people have right now.
And out of the two, that is the one that we'd be most happy to change as well. So we're just going to keep an eye on it. So no promises yet. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. All right, so apart from that, as always, you've got 2 different streams to watch back. The art stream, which took place about an hour at 4 o'clock our time. So do check that out, which was awesome. And came over to this stream, the survey stream, where we've went through a lot of stuff. So there's a lot to cram in. There's a lot of discussion. So feel free to to watch the stream back, jump in, and let us know what you think. We're always keeping an eye out.
I mean, we all have Twitters. We're all going to be
Exactly.
reading the TODW and Pet Thrust on Reddit.
Yeah.
So yeah, just get in touch with us.
And as a general note as well, as you mentioned, next week will be the Builder Backlog poll and post.
Yeah, we're going
as
for
well.
end of next week.
Cool.
And so the player owned farm. Yep. Discord is open. Can we put the link back in? Is that all right? Yeah, Discord. Please get in there. Talk to the guys about the update. Get your ideas in for livestock and rewards.
There you go. All right, but apart from that, that will bring us to the end. So we're going to get ready to wrap up here. And apart from that, of course, have yourselves a wonderful rest of your week. Have a great Easter, because obviously we come to Easter. Just as a note as well for people watching, game update next week is on Tuesday, not Monday. We won't be here on Monday. So we'll be deploying a game update next Tuesday. So keep that in mind as well. Apart from that, take care and have a good one.
Claim loot.
Cheers.
Bye.